couldn't hear you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are ready for one of the best shows you're ever going to have.
Woo!
Ever.
Whew,
let me tell you why. Because we got this really, really nice girl from the Bronx. Well, she's not from the Bronx. Where are you from?
I'm from Putnam Valley, New York.
Where's that?
That's like directly above Westchester.
Westchester.
Yeah, Westchester. I'm from Westchester.
So when you were a kid, what'd you do up in Putnam Valley?
Well, it's like it borders Yorktown, but like my area is so desolate. Like we just really honestly we all like went quadding and stuff. We went kayaking. We did all those really like nature kind of things. There was not much else to do.
Nature.
Growing up. Yeah.
You went hiking. You threw rocks. You chucked sticks, right?
Yeah.
You ever get in a stick fight?
No, I never got into stick fight.
Well, that's good. You don't want bruises.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do bruise easily, so.
Same here. That's something we have in common, I guess.
Yeah.
So, to start, like I like to start every show here, Thursday morning. Good time, Greg. That's me. Would you like a radio name?
Sure. You want to make it up for me?
Yeah, K something.
K what?
KY.
KY? I like that. I like that. I like that.
That's pretty funny.
That's good.
All right. So what is my name again? Good time, Greg.
Good time,
and KY
Greg.
in the house. I like to start off my show by informing people what's going on. All right. So what I want to do is pretty much give the public a better sense of what's out there. Everybody's like, oh, what do you want to do for a living? What do you want to do when you grow up? Well, how do you know what you want to do until you've done it? Or until you've like talked to somebody that does it and gotten the real deal. Sure, you can look at like what a doctor does on paper. You can read about being a doctor, but we all know that that's not necessarily the case at all. Sometimes, like it's I went into the military, and what I thought it was going to be compared to what it was, very, very opposite.
Right.
Well, besides all the yelling, that was true, right?
That was spot on.
Exactly. So today we're going to call this show Interview with a New York City Waitress.
Okay.
And this is Kaylin P, also known as KY. So we're going to start off with a few questions here, all right? Doing the waitressing job, right? Because we want to know, you have a brain, and it's got so much knowledge, right? But we want to get all of that from you. It's pretty much what's going down. So okay. Everybody says that can be the hardest job in the world. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, definitely.
One of the hardest jobs in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Why do they say that?
Well, for being a waitress, it's so many aspects to it. I mean, waitress or waiter, server. That would be
server.
Yeah, that would be politically correct now.
We like that.
So, it's physically demanding. You have to. If you're in a busy place, like which I have been, you're running around for 10, 12, 14 hours straight. You're picking up heavy plates, you're bussing tables, you're cleaning things, there's a physical aspect, and then there's like the mental / emotional aspect. You have to, patience, in the hospitality business, patience has to be your middle name. Because you get those really sweet customers, you get those, but then you also get these, out of whack kind of customers, or these like really rude
describe
ones.
this out of whack. We all know that you have this when you say that something flashes in your mind, like this one particular instance. There's got to be. Tell us one very specific instance where you've had an out of whack customer.
Okay,
or
well,
guest.
I'm gonna go into what I mean out of whack. I mean kind of like unruly and rude. There was this one instance where I had a table. It was probably like five.
Great.
It was like 5 or 6 people.
Okay.
And they were, kind of, when you kind of tell, like, you meet people and you kind of tell, like, they're like a little off. You know what I mean? You got to get like a weird vibe.
Oh yeah.
And
you go up there. It seems like they're not smiling with you.
Yeah. The first thing you do, you go up to them and say, "Hi guys, how are you? How's everything going? Can I start you off with anything?" And they don't even look at you. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, okay, so then you leave, you come back.
Yep.
But anyway, this is something that I think about all the time. I had this one table and it was like 6 people. So she wanted to do some kind of crazy combo that we don't have on our menu. And I was like, okay, maybe. Give me 1 second. It might be an upcharge, but let me just check for you.
Okay.
I went to my manager. We could do it. You know, it had to be like a $3 upcharge. So I came to her and I explained to her like what we could do, and you know, the amount of money it would be, which was
what
was
this dish here? You said
it was like, oh my god, I can't remember specifically.
Was this a combination?
It
Of
was some
different
kind
types
of like
things?
surf and turf kind of thing, but she
Okay.
wanted to add like extra shrimp at the time or something of that nature.
Sounds tasty.
And so I told her, you know, very nicely, you know, this is what we're gonna do, and she goes, "What? $3?" She was like, "That's coming out of your tip."
Oh my! And she was serious though.
She was dead serious. She was dead, and I just kind of looked at her. And sometimes customers will say that, and they will be completely joking. You know what I mean? So like, at some point, like that started happening so often that I didn't know if I should laugh or if I should just kind of like, you know, like okay, because sometimes you'll laugh and they're like, "No, I'm serious."
Wow.
So.
Yeah, no, sometimes they are serious.
Yeah, sometimes they're serious.
And,
It's just, you know, or like they'll just like give you, you know, like a really hard time too. Like they'll say, okay, I want this as a dish, and then when you bring out their platter, like, no, I don't want that. Send it back. And then you know the customer's always right, so you have to send it back, bring them something else.
How many times a day do you have to swallow your pride for these people?
Oh my God, how many times a day?
How many times a week? Countless times. It seems like, right?
I thought the week is like definitely.
Where you
No, that's
know
a far
that
stretch.
they have just made a large mistake, but you have to seem as if it's like your fault. Why? Because you have to pay your bills.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, when I first started serving, I was I was 16, 17.
Okay.
And I was like growing up especially, I was painfully shy. Painfully shy.
Yeah.
And waitressing was not something that I really wanted to do, but like I started off as a busser. I was a bus girl for about a year.
Wow, how was that?
It was great.
Why? Because you didn't have to talk to people?
Yes, because I didn't have to talk to people, and I'm more of like a hands-on kind of person. So I love the physical work. You know, I love being busy. I love that I didn't have to like communicate. Just, you know, I cleaned your table. I did this. I did that. You know, and
Paid
it
your
was
check and went home.
yes.
Okay.
And then one day, my manager at the time throws a menu at me and says, "Here, you're on next weekend. Learn it," as in like waitressing.
Wow.
So I kind of got thrown into it.
Yeah.
But there are some rude people that they can kind of sense that you're shy, or they can sense that you're timid, and they will bully you. They will really
It's
bully
like they take advantage of you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What's up with that? Why do people do that, do you think?
I don't know. I feel like that's just a common trait for just people who are bullies in general. They always pick on the weaker one, or the one that, you know, they feel like they can find a weak spot. Maybe like their own mild amusement. I'm not too sure. 'Cause I'm not a bully. So.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So what I've observed is, what I've come to notice over time, isn't there a lot of psychology to this particular job?
In what sense? Like,
Well, I feel like there's a way to make things go better for you, and you have to be able to read every table is a new, like you have to start fresh
Right.
with every new group of people and figure it out and crack the code to make it work.
right.
I feel like if you act the same way towards everybody, you know, they're not gonna appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like they want that custom home like experience. Is that somewhere along the lines correct?
Yeah,
Or-
I could totally agree with that. Like you kind of have to adapt to every kind of customer that comes in. Like now with those customers that come in,
Right,
and
right.
what I do, and I heard this from my manager now, who's like a god in my eyes. But she
Okay.
always tells me, she says, you kill them with kindness, and it's so true, because if you have someone coming to you know what I mean, at some point and there's also like I can't tell you like specifically, there's a psychology that comes behind that too, that, you know, if someone comes into this room right now and starts screaming at you, like freaking out on you, and and then you reply in the same tone that I'm talking to you right now, they naturally come back down.
They just calm right down.
There's a psychology behind it, and it's totally the same when you're dealing with these customers. You know what I mean? When they're being rude and they're being like, you know, erratic, and you're just, like, okay, well, I'm so sorry. Well, what can I do for you? And then they come back around. They really do come back around, and it's kind of great. Like once you get the hang of it, it's like, oh, awesome. Like I got it in the bag. Like you know what I mean? And you kind of feel like invincible. Like you feel like the best server in the play.
And you have to you soothe them almost.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, what happens?
What do you mean?
If you don't, what happens? You don't get paid.
Yeah, you don't get paid, and then they can make a huge problem for you. I mean, the managers and these people, the managers specifically, and the bosses, they have been in this industry forever, so they know how it is. But they could complain about you. They can make a big scene in the restaurant. They could write a bad review on Yelp and put your name in it, which is horrible. Ooh. You know what I mean? That's never happened to me, brutal. But it's a very real thing. So you kind of.
That's got to be the worst.
Yeah, I've always been terrified of that. That's like my.
Oh my goodness! Because you can't erase it. You can't delete that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's on the internet for everyone to see. That's on your restaurant's name. That's what I mean. That's like your whole integrity is like through the toilet.
Yeah.
So.
That's that. Yeah. No, I definitely. That's got to be scary.
Yeah, definitely.
So you got to. All right. So I guess if you were to give a tip to anybody going in this industry, mm-hmm. you said a phrase that really stuck out in my mind. Kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I feel like if everybody had that attitude towards life, that the world would be a much better place.
Absolutely.
You think about driving down the street. Sometimes you get flipped off. Sometimes, people look at you in a weird way. But I mean, if everybody was just a little bit nicer to each other, everybody would be a little bit more happy. People need more hugs, don't you think?
Totally.
So you essentially give people hugs at your job every day.
Yeah, I try to. I really, because I am generally like a happy person.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone has their days, but my biggest thing with serving is that I like to see, those families or those couples that come out and they're really enjoying themselves. You know what I mean? Like I like to make the experience personally. I feel like, back to, whoever wants to be a server, you really have to have a sort of passion for making people happy. And, a passion to, like when these come in, like these people come in, you really want to serve them and not like be their slave, but you want to make their experience as pleasant and as memorable as possible. Because me personally, I love that feeling when, I'm like, it's a busy Saturday night and like I'm killing it. I'm getting everything out on time. Everyone's happy. And then after being so busy, I have like those 3 or 4 minutes just to like kind of like sit back and like check on my tables, and everyone is eating and everyone is so happy, and they're they're happy with their food and they're happy with their service and they're happy with the people that they're with, and it's like it's a beautiful thing to see. It's really I'm in awe. You know what I mean? Like I adore that feeling. Like I love seeing people happy like that. So
that seems like a unique trait that you don't get with every job.
Right.
Imagine like working in a cubicle. You're not going to have that type of feeling.
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
That human aspect.
Right.
It seems to be a nice luxury, but with the price, with that as anything.
Yeah.
You have to be good, or else you're not gonna get that.
Yeah, you won't make it.
In my opinion.
Right. You won't make it.
So we've all seen the movie Waiting.
Yes.
let's get to the nitty gritty here, the fun stuff. We've all seen the movie. You have the server there, the lady who acts really nice to the guests, and then she goes around the corner and starts cursing like crazy. Or you have the chefs that are a little little unsanitary, things of that nature.
Right.
Well, throughout your years, this is why we're not naming any names here. This is good. This is why right here. What is the most terrible thing that you've seen?
The most terrible thing that I've seen, every time tables tell me about, like the movie Waiting, like I've seen the movie, and not most of the time, I have never seen, like that the things that happen in that movie only happen in that movie. At least in the places that I've worked. I can't speak for other restaurants and, other hospitality, food, beverage, hospitality businesses, but
right.
I have never seen my chef do something as disgusting as that. Or have I seen servers act really nice in front of the tables and then come around and, you know, curse them to hell. Definitely. That's definitely. More often than I like. But,
more often, right?
Yeah, but probably the most terrible thing, which is, like, not even so terrible, the most terrible thing I've seen is, like, the servers be rude to the tables. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Which,
man.
like,
That's not good.
But in comparison to waiting, it's really, like, doesn't compare. But that's probably the worst thing, where you just, you know, I have like, we're not gonna name any names, but I have and, you know, the thing, too, when you work in restaurants and things like that, your coworkers become your family.
Yeah.
You know, you spend, especially like those busy months, you spend so much time with them at work, and, you know, when you're in the hole, it's busy, you're weeding it out, like, they're there to help you out, they're there, you know, if you need someone to vent to about, you know, the managers are giving you a hard time.
Oh, yeah.
The tables are giving you a hard time. And then it becomes, you know, like, you bring your personal life, and these are people that you really rely on. Like, it's a family. And, anyway, I have one friend. I won't say her coworker. She's one of my best friends.
Okay.
She's a hardened waitress. Hardened waitress. She's
seasoned. She's been around the block.
She's been around the block, yeah.
Yep.
She's a little hard. And sometimes, like, I will see her approach these tables, and like mostly the bigger groups, because it's a little harder to get the bigger groups under control, like 10, 12, 15.
Understandable.
And she is so abrasive. Like, she is practically shouting at them, like, okay, what do you want? All right. Oh, well, what, it comes with this. Okay. And then she you know, dips. She goes, she does what she, you know, she like pretty much practically throws things on top of the table, you know, and then time comes, like, we'll be singing happy birthday at the end. We won't even finish the happy birthday song, and she already has a check on the table. And
whoa.
It's funny, like, it, you know, on the outside, you know, watching it, but, like, then at the same time, I'm, like, cringing. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, I always tell her, I'm like, do you realize how you are? And she's been working probably as a waitress probably, like, for 7 or 8 years.
Oh, boy.
At least. And I think she just realized, like, 2 months ago, she was like, wow, I am kind of rude to them, aren't I? I was like, yeah, like, are you just realizing that? She's like, yeah, like, wow, I can't believe it. And I think she might have toned it down a little bit. So. But it's, like, she's a hard, and because it does jade you working with people. I feel like, just in general, not even in the hospitality.
Well, because I can only imagine, like, you pour your heart out to these people, right? Like you said, you have to be willing to give them good service and want them to be happy there. And then they turn around, because tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if this has never happened to you. Mm-hmm. Then they don't tip correctly.
Right. Okay. Well, if you want to get into that.
Yeah. Let's talk finances.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll talk finances. There, you know, obviously there are tables that, you know, 15% is the ideal.
Ideal, right.
20% is if you did a spectacular job. But I feel like not many people tip 20%. They do 15 because it's the, you know,
it's
the standard. It's like, okay, 15% that's a good, it is fine. To me, honestly, anything under 15%, I don't even do percentage-wise, because it's just, you know what I mean? It's just like a few bucks. But there are people who don't tip because they feel like they don't have to tip, or they feel like they're entitled not to tip, or, you know, they're just, like I said, some people, and you know what? Me personally, I don't know if any other servers think about it this way or have come to terms with this, but I have come to terms with the fact that some people are just ignorant. And not even
choose to be.
And yeah, some of them choose to be, definitely, absolutely. But then there are a lot of them that, you know, don't go out to eat often, or, you know, they didn't go out to eat growing up, and they don't know proper etiquette. Because I have had the nicest tables, like the sweetest tables that wouldn't bother me, probably wouldn't hurt a fly. You know, you just kind of know, and they won't leave a tip. And it's just plain ignorance.
It's gotta be baffling.
Yeah, but it's just plain ignorance, and you can't really blame that. You know what I mean? If they've been out to eat maybe once or twice before in their life, and they have no idea how it goes.
So that kind of forces you to be empathetic. Like,
absolutely,
well, you know,
definitely. That's what
some people just don't get it.
For me, I've come to terms with it. You know, I've definitely like, it's like, okay, you know, like you always can kind of tell. And what am I supposed to, you know what I mean? How am I supposed to be angry at that when they have no idea?
Yeah, you got a good point.
You know?
Definitely.
I mean, sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes they're just like, oh, you know, I don't want to, or, you know. But some people just genuinely don't know. And that comes a lot, too, with foreigners.
Oh, the foreigners. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Which foreign people don't know the most?
Which foreign people don't know the most?
Yeah. Or is that a thing? Or is it just in general all foreigners?
I feel like probably like maybe people from the Caribbean.
The Caribbean.
They really don't know the most. Like, they genuinely don't know.
Right.
But there are people like Europeans, and I'm going to, like, Italians, people from Italy, like, they'll know that in America that they tip, but, you know,
But they'll use that to their...
They'll use that to their, like, you know...
advantage or whatever.
Yeah. Well, one time I had this table from Italy.
Yeah.
I don't know what part of Italy, because their accents were kind of... I couldn't really pinpoint it.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end, they asked me, like, oh, well, you know, what's appropriate, you know...
Tipping standards.
Yeah, right.
Here.
And yeah. For me personally, I always feel so awkward saying that, because I don't want to tell them, you should give me this much money. I feel like it's so rude. I feel like it's so rude. But I was like, oh, you know, well, you know, here's a tip guideline, like, if you'd like to go by that. Because usually on the checks, there's a tip guideline. Like, 15% will, you know, it'll say the number of
I assume 15, 18, 20.
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly. The place that I'm at now, it's a little more expensive. Like, it's all the way downtown in the meat packing. So it does, like, 18, 20, 22.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, that's got to be nice.
Yeah, so, but they told me... And this was around the time I first had a waitressing. They're like, oh, you know, we don't, you know, usually, like, well, I'm glad you told us, because we weren't going to tip you. And I didn't really know how to take that. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, yeah. She's like, we're from Italy. And she's like, in Italy, we don't tip. The servers don't get any tips. She's like, if you want to leave $1, then yeah. But other than that, we don't tip. And then
wow.
I've noticed, like,
Welcome to America.
Yeah. But, well, the laws are different over there.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? They're bartenders... You know, all of those people in the food beverage hospitality business, they all get paid a really good hourly, like, wage. And, you know, the health benefits, it's all different. You know, I guess it evens out.
I heard overseas some places that's like a really high paying job.
Yeah, it is.
Where you do get benefits and everything like that.
You get benefits. It's a really high paying job.
That's strange. That's strange. How in America it's so different.
Yeah,
this is interesting.
I don't know. I saw a video about it once that
you did.
It was like back in the Prohibition time.
Come on, let us have it.
I'm trying to recall correctly. It was back in, like, the Prohibition times, and somebody in, like, political power wanted to pay their workers less, so some kind of, like, law or some kind of rule went in, and that's how tipping came about. That's pretty much that's the essence of it. That's the premise of it. They wanted to pay their workers less, and then people started tipping. I think they started tipping, like, out of etiquette or just because of... I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to look up that video.
Maybe it could be considered a social movement to where people took note of this and they felt bad for them and was like, all right, so this is we're going to make up for that.
Yeah, I think that might have been...
That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That would be really something else.
So that's how that all started. So welcome to America, right?
Welcome to America. On that note, folks, we're going to go to a music break, and we'll be back after a few moments.
Look at her butt.